Hello and welcome to All Villa, No Filler, a podcast all about Aston Villa, the world's greatest football team. Remember to subscribe to the show, follow us on Spotify, Apple, YouTube, and wherever you get your podcasts. This is the All Villans series where we celebrate Villa fans all over the world. This week we're joined by the legendary, one of my favourite people to talk to, Chad Williams, the host of the Villa4Ever Podcast. Now, Chad started his podcast to chat his love of Aston Villa and to raise awareness of a condition he has called Duchenne Muscular Dystrophy. So, firstly, Chad, I think, because obviously your podcast, we talk Aston Villa a lot. But firstly, for those who don't know, what exactly is Duchenne Muscular Dystrophy?
Well, first of all, talk about that. I just want to say it's a pleasure to be on this show. Absolute pleasure. I really love your podcast, Frankie. It's one of my favourite Aston Villa podcasts. But yes, I'll tell you about the condition. So the reason I wanted to raise awareness is because I want to pick more people to know about this condition and it affects the lives of other young men like myself. But I do live in hope of a cure, which is what I hope for in the future. So combining my love of Aston Villa Football Club and with Duchenne, I'm putting my two passions together. But I want to educate more people about Duchenne, the condition. And okay, I'll tell you what Duchenne muscular dystrophy. I'll tell you a bit about what it is. So, I think you scrolled down. Duchenne muscular dystrophy, DMD, is a genetic muscle wasting disease that causes progressive muscle weakness and degeneration, wasting of skeletal and heart muscles, which begin to deteriorate, lead to paralysis, heart and lung failure, early death, and the average is life expectancy for a person mid-20s, and Duchenne is 100% fatal. But it's so important that we keep raising awareness of this condition.
Absolutely. Chad, you've done a really fantastic job in raising the awareness of it. Particularly with the podcast, it's something I'd never heard of, something I
Yeah,
wasn't aware of. So now you've done an incredible job in, not just making me aware of it, but so many other Aston Villa
thank
fans as
you.
well. And thank you as well for the nice words about the podcast. Of course, I very much appreciate that.
Yeah.
Um, a quick question I want to ask you as well is you and a friend of the show, a guy I know listens well, Michael Huggins, you're
Yes.
both raising money for Acorns Children's Hospice Trust. Can you tell us what that's about?
Well, me and Michael Huggins, we become great friends, but we'll be joining forces together with my podcast platform. And Michael, a few weeks ago, he surprised me on my show. And he said he wanted to join together to do it. So we're going to do fundraising for Acorns Hospice Trust. And I think it's really for a great cause. And in the past as well, I want to give something back to Acorns because I went there for respite when I was younger for mum and dad. And during the time at Acorns, I made a lot of friends like myself and some real good memories there. And all the Acorn staff, they always do a great job. So he's a community champion, Michael Huggins, Aston Villa fan. I call him the cycling Aston Villa fan. And he's raised a lot of money over the years with various other charities. Because Michael worked at Cadbury Ballville for 36 years. And we work well together. So me and Michael at the moment, we've set up a Just Giving page, which you can go to on the link. And so far, we've raised over £400. So feel free to contribute. Even at less as £2 would be enough. And the other idea we've got as well, we are thinking of arranging a quiz night. We're going to do a raffle and music at the Aston in and Paddy Kennedy for the Full of the Maguire podcast has just chosen the venue. It's provisionally booked at the beginning of December, and we're thinking of 5th of December at 7 p.m. So I'll let you know, everyone, when it's all confirmed.
Fantastic. That'd be brilliant. No, congratulations to that. I know Michael Huggins as well. I follow him online. He's a very inspirational man.
Yeah,
I'd love to get him on this podcast as well. So it's fantastic you're both doing that for ACOS Children's Hospice Trust. And I will put the link on our YouTube page and on
thank you.
the title descriptions as well. So Chad, obviously, you're an absolutely enormous Aston Villa fan. You know, like how often do you get to go to the Villa games, and how supportive have the club been to you in your passion for Villa?
Well, it's all with the games. I'm a season ticket holder in the Trinity Road stand. I do try to go to as many games as I can. The only time it can be difficult is in the winter months when it gets colder. But it's my big passion, Aston Villa. But I'm a supporter, a caregiver. And my dad, two people have to go with me because of support I need. And also, I like to say about Villa as well. I think mentally, I think Aston Villa really helped me. It keeps me motivated, distracts me from my disability and my struggles. I'll tell you something interesting as well, Frankie. When I was in sixth form and college, there was something called Villa Vocations, where the students had the opportunity to do work placements at Aston Villa. So I had an amazing experience with Mick Dale, the tour guide, and when I toured around the stadium, I toured 20 people from Tamworth around the stadium. We took a group of visitors around at Villa Park, and what I did when I was there, we even got to go in the dressing room, talking about the history. And the best thing I always remember from that work placement, that we even got to go on the Villa Park pitch. And it's something which I'll never forget. And also, with the work placement as well, it really improved my communication skills and my confidence as well.
That's great, and it's fantastic to hear. You mentioned Mick Dale as well. He's an Aston Villa legend, isn't he?
This Aston Villa.
Yeah, I don't think I met him, or maybe I did when I was younger, but I don't think I did recently. And but I've heard everybody just says such great things about him. Lovely.
He's a lovely guy.
That's fantastic to hear. And you got to go on the pitch as well, which is something I'm very
Yeah.
jealous of. I wish I'd been on there. I've had many dreams at night where I've been on the pitch scoring in front of the whole end or something. But so of course you started the podcast as well. There's a rich tapestry of the podcasts out there. I've got lots of really, really good ones, but yours has been a lovely addition as well. I would really love coming on your podcast as well. You ask such great questions. What's it been like to run a podcast over the last year?
Well, I've been doing a podcast now for about nearly 2 years, I think.
As well.
About 2 months now, I think. But it's been the best decision I ever made, Frankie. And I mean, doing the podcast really is very important to me. Because good distraction from the condition and the daily struggles in life. And sometimes, not everyone, you get your down days, but it keeps me motivated and it gives me something to focus for. which is very important to me.
Mm.
And what I do is like, there's a lot of work behind the scenes that goes into my podcast, but it's something which I can do independently with a little bit of support from my caregivers. And without it, I think without the podcast, I think our mental health would be affected.
Mm.
But another thing to mention, I mean, since doing this podcast, I've made some great friends along the way, including yourself, Frankie.
Yeah.
And I've had some fantastic guests. And there's been, including the likes of Gary Thompson, Dan Bardell, Tony Morney, ex-players, content creators. But I really feel part of the Aston Villa podcast family.
Absolutely. And you've contributed so much to it. You're really, honestly, as I say, every time I come on, I always think your questions are excellent. I think you should be an interviewer, to be honest. You should be on
I really
it's,
appreciate it.
it's Sky Sports should get you in or something.
Well, your voice reminds me of Piers Morgan.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You're not the first person to say that, actually. um, so, so next up, Aston Villa, we've got Fulham. The international break is coming to an end. How do you feel about the Fulham game coming up?
Well, it'd be great to get back to Premier League action again. Because to be honest, I do prefer domestic football. I don't really enjoy the international breaks as much. But I think this game, though, it's not going to be the easiest game, I don't think. Because Fulham, the eighth in the table, they started the season quite well. And I thought they were very unlucky against Manchester City. And even though they lost that game, and Fulham, on the attack, they can score goals. But the only thing that the problem with Fulham that they do, that they do concede a lot of goals as well. So I think defensively, Fulham could be got at with the attack, with the options we have in our team. But it's hard to judge for them. They're a bit of a funny team for them. You don't know what you're going to get. But I think it's important from a Villa point of view. Can we drop points against, obviously, Ipswich? And then we against Man United as well.
Hmm.
So I think we need to win this game. You've got the teams above us as well. We need to get closer to those other teams. So we need to cement our place in that top four, especially.
Hmm. Absolutely, very good points, and that's the thing. It's going to be very competitive, isn't it, to get top four this season? There's a lot of, I feel like Chelsea are making a bit of a comeback, and we also have so many games
We
coming
know
up.
Chelsea. I think Chelsea actually for the top four. I think Chelsea are Villa's biggest threat.
Mm.
I watched that Cole Palmer score 4 goals the other day. But their attack, they're quite good at the attack, Chelsea.
Yeah, they've got so many players, haven't they? Pedro Neto as well, Joao Felix,
Yes.
Cole Palmer, and Kunku. It's just like you sort of feel like having that number of players will help them this season. But
Yeah.
Fulham, as you say, they're a funny team. It's the sort of one where Villa do tend to surprise us in games sometimes. Like I think the Villa of old, you'd think we'd go and lose there, but now you're like, I don't know, I could see us turning up and winning like we did last season. But obviously Villa have had a good start to the season. Fifth in the league. What have you made of Villa's start to the season overall?
Well, as a Villa fan, I've been very pleased. It's been a great start to the season, I would think.
Mm.
And we left ourselves in a very good position so far. Like we're fifth in the league at the moment, like in the Premier League table. We're still very close to Chelsea. But I think, like, if you look at last season, I think there's only a point less than we were last season. So very similar start. And then obviously, last season we ended up finishing the season in the top four.
Mm.
But I think as well, and performances have been very consistent. We managed well being in the Champions League and Premier League at the same time so far. But the only concern for me is we need to stop. We seem to concede quite a few goals, which is something I think Unai will fix. And I think we need to tighten up at the back. But the good thing as well, we've got a few players coming back. Obviously, I mean, Tyrone Mings will be back soon. Because I think we really miss his leadership skills. So I think we might not let in as much goals then. And also, when you got Buen Diaz back as well now. Also, I think that scoring goals for Villa, that's no problem. I think we've got some great players. The likes of John Duran, scoring. You got Ollie Watkins as well. And even like Yuri Tielemans, he's been chipping in on some goals as well.
Mm.
But I think I think with the amount of fixtures we've had, Unai Emery's still managing very well with it.
Absolutely, and it's our first experience of the Champions League as well, isn't it? So we've done very well to start the season with
Yeah.
kind of winning those Champions League games and then matching it up at the weekend games. And you're exactly right as well about the defense. We are conceding a bit too many at the
Yeah.
moment, and that's something I think over this season, if we continue to concede sloppy goals like we have, it will cost us in the end. So you're exactly right about that. I hope it's something that maybe a Tyrone Mings coming back can help put a stop to that. But obviously, a lot of our players have started the season very well. But who do you think's been our best player so far?
Well, that's a very good question, Frankie. But I would probably say that overall, the Yuri Tielemans. I think Yuri Tielemans is class. It's amazing to think that we got him on a free. And like his vision, he keeps us ticking over. He gives us so much control.
Hmm.
And also, then also after Tielemans, you look what John Duran, he's been excellent. I mean, John Duran's a super sub. And he really can't stop scoring. So I think if John Duran carries on, I think he's got a very good chance of starting more games. Another player I really like as well, but Morgan Rogers,
Hmm.
he's been very good as well. Like, he's really showing his true potential now. And the way like he drives the team forward, like his dreams, he's just an incredible player.
Hmm.
I mean, signed him from Middlesbrough, but Emery knew what a player he could work on. One of his many projects.
Hmm. He's a very, very special player, isn't he, Morgan Rogers? I think he'll be playing for England very, very soon.
He will get a call up. Definitely, he will get a call up there.
Has to, doesn't he? And I think exactly right. I think I'm with you. I think I go Yuri Tielemans probably as player of the season. It feels like we haven't missed Douglas Luiz yet.
Yep.
And Tielemans, it just feels like everything goes through him, doesn't it? But John Duran as well. I mean, wow, he scored for Colombia this week as well.
He
Don't know
did,
if you
yeah.
saw that goal. Really good finish. He looks like he's going to be such an amazing player if he
And
just
what it
keeps
is to
doing it.
think that he's only 20,
Yeah.
20 years old. He's scoring goals like that, yeah.
Yeah, it's unbelievable, isn't it? And obviously we mentioned John Duran's goals. He scored that famous goal. It will be a very famous goal on
Or
history.
Bayern Munich, yeah.
Bayern Munich game. Wow. Did you manage to get to that game, Chad?
I actually did. I
What did you
went
think
with,
of it?
well, it was an incredible night. I went with my dad and my caregiver. And my caregiver, Lawrence, it was actually his first Villa game, Lawrence.
All right.
And he got to experience one of the best guys, but even before kickoff, I really enjoyed the pre-match build-up as well.
Mm.
We got there quite early, and I bought myself a half and half scarf. Actually, it was the last one that this guy was selling, and luckily I managed to get the last one. But I just thought the actual game itself, I mean, it was incredible atmosphere, and it wasn't just like the magnitude of the result. it finished the same score as it did 42 years ago. It was like it was meant to be.
Hmm.
And yeah, so eventually, one of the best nights of my life. I will never forget it. And I actually, when John Duran scored that goal, I was sitting behind the north stand, and it was a moment of jubilation, and scoring that winner behind the goal. And also, credit to Unai Emery. It was a tactical masterclass. I mean, in that game, we defended very well. I mean, Harry Kane, he hardly touched the ball. We frustrated them. I think we disrupted them. And we deserved that victory. We worked very hard.
Hmm.
But they say that saying there, they say history repeats itself. It definitely does.
Hmm. 100%. It felt like it was meant to be, didn't it? It was. I think for me, it's probably my favorite ever.
Did you go?
Yeah, I did. I did. And I've been going to Aston Villa for more than 30 years now. That shows how old I am. But it like I've been to a lot of really good games and really memorable games
Yeah.
and a lot of really bad ones as well.
Mhm.
But I just think that's my favorite game I've been to. I think just everything around it, the atmosphere. But
The
as
thing
you
is,
said,
you don't really get better than that, really.
no, just unless it's a final, that we win or something. But
Yeah.
it's yeah, as you say, like the atmosphere before the game was so unique. It was so special. And
Mhm.
for Lawrence, your caregiver, his first ever game, he
Yeah.
must be loving it. He must think this is
I absolutely loved it. We might have first game to pick.
that's unbelievable. I've been going for 30 years waiting for this, and his first game, he gets to that. Uh, but I think for me, it's probably my favorite game ever. Would you say the Bayern game was your favorite game too, or do you have a...
I would say Bayern Munich. Then I've put down a few. I'll probably say Bayern Munich because of the meaning of the result and against a big elite team like that. Then I've got Derby County,
Hmm.
the 2019 playoff final, when we got back up to the Premier League. Then also, I was going Blackburn in that League Cup semi final,
Ah,
6-4. I mean, I really enjoyed that game. Then the West Bromwich Albion, the playoff semi final, Jed Steer. I was behind that goal when he made that penalty save.
oh, were you?
But the last one, I believe, was like Brighton in 2023 when we got back to Europe again. That's not in 14 years.
Hmm.
But for me, though, Bayern Munich has to be the best.
Yeah, they're all great games. Were they? That Blackburn one as well. The atmosphere was very. There's
Oh, yeah.
something about Villa Park at night, isn't there? Under the floodlights, it's a very special
Very
stadium.
special.
Yeah, there's not
I think
many.
that actually, I prefer the night games.
I think I do as well. Usually, there's something about Villa under floodlights. It's you always hear other players who used to play, retired professionals who always say how much they like Villa Park. I think
Yeah.
it's just something about it. But we've got a lot of games coming up now, Chad.
Yeah.
What to you looks like a good season this year? What do you think would be
Mhm.
a good way for Villa to sort of finish the season, I guess?
Well, the first target, I mean, if we could get top four again, I mean, that would be an incredible achievement. But at least, if we can at least get top six Europa League, for me, I think that would be the minimum. With the quality of players we've got, we should be at least looking at top six. But top four would be the main target. But you got the likes of Chelsea, but Spurs, Newcastle. There's going to be some tough competition in there.
Hmm.
But I think get top four, or maybe win a trophy. It would be nice to get some silverware. But who knows in the Carabao Cup? We've got Crystal Palace at home. So you get closer to the quarter final then. So then also, man, you do win the Champions League, get to at least the last 16. So if that happens, I'll be very pleased.
Yeah, completely. Winning a trophy would be nice. We're going to win the Champions League. We're going to win the Premier. We're going to win the lot. Somebody said last night we can still win the quadruple or something like that. So I was like, yes, yes, we will. But Chad, it's been absolutely fantastic to chat to you.
Thank
I'd
you.
love to have you on again very soon.
I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, it was really really fun this, and as I say, your knowledge of Villa is so great, and I say to everybody who hasn't watched your podcast yet, please go and listen to the
Yeah.
Villa4Ever podcast. You're on Twitter, Facebook, all those places as well.
Yeah,
And
you can get me on YouTube, Spotify, Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts.
yes, everybody, please go subscribe to that and follow it. And Chad, where can we find you online? Where do you on your Twitter page and Facebook?
So you can follow me on X. So it's Villa4Ever Pod on there, and also I am on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. I do about 2 podcasts a week. I'll do a live one on the Thursday. And please subscribe to my channel.
No, please do. And as I say, Chad, also Fulham this weekend. Do you have a prediction? Any score prediction?
Oh, I'm gonna go 2-1 win, Frankie.
Yeah, that's what I like to hear. I said John Duran, late winner.
Yeah.
Well, thanks, Chad. Again, it's been absolutely brilliant to chat to you. And as I
You
say,
know, it's been an absolute honor. It's been an honor to be on this podcast.
thank you so much. And as I say, I'll put the link to the Acorns Children's Hospice Trust, where you're raising money with Michael Huggins as well. I will put that in the link. So thank you again. So thank you so much, Chad.